cannot take away from Australia's excellence, and just show them why they're, whatever the format, one of the best sides in the world.
Yeah, cool, calm and collective. Never really had to get out of third gear. We saw the blitzkrieg, didn't we, in the first game with Mitchell Marsh and Travis Head, the quality they have. But apart from that, it's been controlled aggression, it's been reading the situation and just making sure that they're always ahead of the game, and Scotland haven't had the answers to come back. And it's going to be a comfortable 3-0 victory in this series between Scotland and Australia.
And there it is, a glorious cover drive to seal the win in some fashion, and an embrace between Hardy and Green, who has been the star of the show today, the Western Australian all-rounder. What today, he's had 62 not out next to his name to go with 3 for 35. Australia, they've been near perfect really throughout these 3 matches. Scotland are a fine side, but they have been outclassed by a wonderful Australian unit. 3-0 will be the series victory towards the tourists, and they will head down south of the border with a real jig in their step. The Scotland leg of this tour is over, and Australia, they're the deserving 3-0 champions.
Yeah, they never really got into this series, Scotland. They showed flashes of what they can do, but they couldn't do it in any sort of meaningful, consistent manner. Richie Berrington and as captain and Doug Watson as coach will go away. They'll reflect, they'll learn as they always do. They'll take this experience away. The lack of T20 cricket, this will be a learning that they cannot get at any other time. And going into what will be a long, busy winter schedule for them, Scotland will have learned a lot. That man, Brad Curry, came and added some impetus in the second and third innings, taking early wickets as he always does. But Australia, whenever they felt Scotland would give it, coming back into it, they shut the door and took the sniff away. Australia comfortable 3-0 winners here.
Yeah, they have been quite brilliant, I have to say. For me, for all that Scotland have been under par, Australia have played so well. Remember, coming in for their first internationals in a couple of months since the T20 World Cup, but so many of their players in and around other events, plenty out at Major League Cricket, and warm handshakes and camaraderie between these two sides. There's a lovely bond between these two groups of players. They got to know each other particularly well out in the Caribbean, staying on the same islands, and I think this is hopefully a sign of things to come. Who knows, maybe one day we might see Scotland get to have a game down on Australian soil, but I don't think it'll be long before Mitchell Marsh will ask Cricket Australia to get his men back here to Edinburgh in particular. They've loved every second of this tour, and what's not to love in the September sunshine? A 3-0 series victory. Ali, you can't help but argue they've deserved all 3 of the matches.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been the better team, and they've been the better team comfortably. I think we keep talking about, did Scotland get the balance of their side right throughout this series? Every one of the games they went up with an extra bowler, seeing if that would be able to wrest the momentum back that way. But time and time again, they'd have a reasonable start on the power play, and they would just come unstuck in that middle part of the innings, not being able to rotate the strike or keep the boundary high enough. Bowling-wise, Scotland, they weren't consistent with their lengths. They recognised they used to use the surface, as the Australia seamers did, or seam took wickets throughout the course of the series. But whereas Australia were able to smash that length, getting their bounces nice and high, hitting the top of the stumps, Scotland just couldn't find those lengths on regularity, giving those freebies, allowing the Australian batters to open their arms, and ultimately that's been the difference.
For me, though, cricket the winner very much here in Edinburgh. It's hopefully a sign of plenty more of these kinds of tours to come. What was Ireland's loss, unable to host Australia. Scotland, they have gained and profited from that for a series to remember. I think it's been outstandingly well organised off the field. Cricket Scotland staff and all the volunteers, dozens of volunteers, have put their hands up to help put the series on in real grand style. And even though we've had some rather Scottish weather at points, it ends in glorious sunshine as the second best side in the world in this format. Remember, the 50-over world champions they are, but ranked second in the T20I format, proved far too good for the 13th ranked Scottish side, and they will learn an awful lot from it, not least the value of big contributions both individually and from a partnership perspective. And yet again, despite those early wickets for Curry, there was no way into the contest with only 150 to defend for Scotland.
No, never got